Hey there, welcome to Yoga for Dentists. I'm Dr. Josie DeVideo, longtime dentist, registered yoga teacher, and certified wellness consultant. Here on this channel, I share practical strategies to help dentists reduce stress, prevent burnout, and enjoy both dentistry and life without sacrificing their body and mind. So if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more content created specifically for dentists. And if you find value in today's episode, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment, and share it with a dental colleague. Doing any of those will help me reach more dentists who may need to hear this message today. In this episode, I want to talk about something that used to make me physically uncomfortable: making mistakes. Now, I'm not talking about clinical negligence or carelessness. I'm just talking about being human. Because every time I tried something new or stepped outside of my comfort zone or honestly just got a little too comfortable and stopped paying close attention, I made mistakes, which is fine because I'm human. And humans make mistakes. But making mistakes used to feel excruciating for me, like literally painful. Because looking back, my sense of self-worth was wrapped up in this perception of having it all together, especially as a dentist. And if you know my burnout story, you know that did not end well. And if you don't know my burnout story, you can find it in the description of this episode. There's a link that you can click and it'll take you to the story. All right, but here are a few things I wish someone had told me sooner, especially if you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or burnt out. So if you're multitasking right now, which I know dentists tend to do when they're listening to content, I just want you to focus. Come back to me for a minute, okay? Because this really matters. So I want to talk about something I call the perfectionism tax. It's the hidden price that we pay when we believe we need to have it all together. And most of us don't even realize we're paying it. So the first thing I want you to know is that it's not possible to know it all and always have your stuff together. Now, normally I would use a different word there, but I'm trying to cut back on the cussing. So let's just go with the word stuff, all right? It is not possible to know it all and to have all your stuff together all of the time. And trying to live that way is exhausting because perfectionism doesn't just create pressure, it creates disappointment. Disappointment in ourselves, disappointment in our progress, disappointment in our accomplishments. Because no matter what we achieve, perfectionism has a way of convincing us that it should have been better, or we could have done it faster, or there's an easier way, or that we should be further along by now. And that's a really heavy burden to carry. The second thing I learned is that perfectionism actually doesn't make us better. It makes us hesitant, cautious. It makes us afraid to get things wrong. And therefore, a lot of the times, it keeps us from taking action altogether. I've seen dentists put off conversations they need to have or delay decisions they already know they need to make. And they also avoid trying new things because they're not sure they're going to be able to do them well, right? So perfectionism convinces us that we're going to have to wait until we're ready. But often what we're really waiting for is to be certain, right? And certainty as a concept, that's just a moving target because growth doesn't happen when we're certain. Growth happens when we're willing. So we have to be willing to learn, to try, to be uncomfortable, to make mistakes, right? And I want you to think about every skill you've ever developed in dentistry. Your first crown prep, your first extraction, maybe your first difficult conversation with a team member, or your first treatment presentation. Right? All of these things, you are not instantly excellent in those things. And yet somehow, many of us reach a point in our careers where we expect ourselves to stop needing to learn, right? We expect that we shouldn't be fumbling, we shouldn't be making mistakes, that magically we should have everything figured out. So one of the concepts I teach inside the Crown of Wellness Primer is that we are allowed to be both brilliant and imperfect. Okay, not one or the other, both, which sounds obvious. But based on the amount of burnout, self-criticism, mindset blocks that I see when I'm working with dentists, it clearly is not that obvious. So I want to spell it out for you. You can be an exceptional dentist and still be learning. You can be a strong leader and still get things wrong. You can be successful and still have areas where you struggle. So you can be brilliant and imperfect at the same time. In fact, that really is the human experience. And here's something else I've learned. Your practice doesn't need to be perfect to have a positive impact on your patients. In fact, you don't need to be perfect to have a positive impact on your patients. Right? So somewhere along the way, many dentists start believing that their value comes from flawless performance. All right, but patients aren't looking for perfection. They're looking for someone who cares and who won't take advantage of them. Right? They want someone they trust, someone who is committed to helping them. And the same is true for leadership, for parenting, for life. All right, perfection isn't the goal. Presence is. Learning is. Growth is. And ultimately, it's the willingness to keep showing up. That's really the goal. So what is that perfectionism tax that I was talking about? It's not just stress or never-ending anxiety. It's not even the mistakes you're trying so hard to avoid. The real tax is that perfectionism steals your ability to appreciate the life that you're working so hard to build. And it makes it difficult to acknowledge your wins. Right? It makes it difficult to celebrate your progress or to recognize how far you've already come. And when that happens, success starts feeling unsatisfying. Right? And that's a really expensive tax to pay. The tricky part, of course, is that perfectionism rarely travels alone. It usually shows up alongside other invisible patterns that are quietly shaping how we think, how we lead, how we communicate, and how we respond to stress. And most of us don't recognize these patterns because they've become so normal. And we just assume like, this is who I am, or this is just how dentistry is. But often it's just a habit of thinking or behaving that we've practiced for many years. And once you can start to see those patterns, you can begin to change them. Now, if you'd like to identify some of these hidden patterns that might be creating unnecessary stress and pressure in your life and in your practice, I've created a free self-assessment. It's called 5 Invisible Patterns Quietly Running Your Practice. And you can download it using the link in the description of this episode. But if you're ready to go beyond awareness and start creating real change, you can also find information in the description of this episode about the Crown of Wellness Primer, my group coaching experience for women dentists who want to enjoy life and dentistry without sacrificing their body and mind. So, until next time, here's what I want you to remember. You do not need to become a perfect dentist. You do not need to become a perfect leader or even a perfect human. You only need to remain willing to grow, willing to look at some things, willing to take a journey. And maybe, in fact, please be willing to pause long enough to appreciate how far you've already come. Until next time, be well, friend.